Western pop music originated in its modern form in the United States and the United Kingdom, and continually since the 1950s. Pop music has usually been identified as the music and musical styles that are accessible to the widest audience. How is music accessible, you may be asking? It sells the most copies or is most often streamed digitally. It is also most often played on radio and streaming services. Pop music today is distributed by major record companies that are a part of a global market. Pop music is often mass marketed through radio, television, or other media. Pop music has been dominated by sounds that are rooted in the elements of rock and roll, but its sound has evolved. Pop music now contains elements of rock, hip-hop, reggae, dance, R&B, jazz, electronic, and sometimes folk music. Pop music is often distinguished by songs with a danceable beat or rhythm, simple melodies, and a repeating structure. Pop songs are usually not longer than 3.5 minutes. While some pop stars write their own songs, many do not. When the singers and the writers of the song are different, the star of the song is the singer. Pop stars have been criticized for not writing their own material and for their lack of artistic or classic training. Recording methods have heavily influenced pop music, and technology and recording producers have standardized the sound of pop music, which critics describe as unoriginal, overly simplistic, and repetitive. Short films of pop stars performing hit songs have existed since the 1950s. The music video industry exploded in 1981 with the launch of cable TV channel MTV. While MTV has slowly downed its 24-hour-a-day promotion of music videos are still an important part of the promotion of pop music. There are many pop artists that have influenced the genre, one being Beyonce Knowles. Born Beyonce Giselle Knowles on September 4, 1981 in Houston, Texas. Her mother was a hairstylist and salon owner, while her dad was a Xerox sales manager. Her mom was Louisiana Creole and her dad was African American. Beyonce has one younger sister named Solange. She was a backup dancer in Destiny's Child and is also a singer. Beyonce was born a performer, singing in churches and choirs and attending a high school for the performing arts. Her first girl group, named Girls' Tyme, entered Star Search, the largest talent search show ever, in 1992. They did not win in this competition, but her dad quit his job to become their manager full-time. Beyonce's dad served as her manager until 2011. While this podcast will focus on Beyonce as a solo performer, her career success started as a member of the group Destiny's Child. Girls' Tyme was renamed Destiny's Child in 1996. In 1997, the group got a recording contract with Columbia Records. Their self-titled first album yielded the first hit, No, No, No. Their 1999 follow-up album, The Writings on the Wall, sold more than 8 million copies, and the group earned 2 Grammy Awards from this album. The Writings on the Wall also contained the group's first #1 hit, Jumpin' Jumpin'. The third album, Survivor, released in 2001, earned a Billboard Top 100 rating. Beyonce wrote the #1 hit for this album, Bootylicious. In 2000, Beyonce's father and manager replaced 2 of the original members of the group, LaToya Luckett and Latavia Robertson, with Farrah Franklin and Michelle Williams. Beyonce was publicly blamed for the departure and was criticized for it. She took the criticism very hard, even though the group was still very successful. Beyonce took responsibility for the group as she was the clear leader and wrote or co-wrote most of the hit songs. The change to the group did not affect its success, as Destiny's Child had its best charting single in 2001 with Independent Woman Part 1, which appeared on the soundtrack to the 2000 film Charlie's Angels. The group released Destiny's Fulfilled and completed a world tour in 2005. The group officially broke up in 2006, but have reunited on occasion, including performing at the 2013 Super Bowl. Rolling Stone magazine, in featuring her top 70 songs, called her the greatest living entertainer of the past decade. New Yorker magazine called her the most important and compelling popular musician of the 21st century. Beyonce is credited with creating the staccato rap singing style, which other rappers have imitated. Her use of style encouraged the collision of singing and rapping. She has been called the godmother of mumble rappers who use staccato rapping singing cadences in their music. Beyonce has won 32 Grammy Awards, breaking a record previously held for 20 years. She became the first female artist to win 6 Grammy Awards in one night in 2010, and has retained that title of the female artist with the most wins since 2020. She's tied with Beyonce, her rapper-producer husband, for the most Grammy nominations ever at 88. Beyonce and Jay-Z are the highest-earning couple in Hollywood history, estimated to be worth about $1 billion. They purchased a home in California for over $200 million, the most expensive private home purchased in California. Beyonce and Jay-Z have collaborated on 2 world tours, leading them to the breaking world record of the highest grossing music by a duo. Beyonce is incredibly popular on social media. When she posted a picture announcing her pregnancy with her twins in 2017, the photo became the most liked image on Instagram at the time, gaining over 10.8 million likes. She has sold over 200 million copies worldwide as a solo artist, with 60 million more with Destiny's Child. The Recording Industry Association of America listed Beyonce as the top certified artist of the 2000s decade. She is credited with reviving the music video industry and has won 29 MTV Music Video Awards, making her the most awarded artist in music video history. Additionally, Beyonce is the most awarded artist at the NAACP Image Awards with 22 awards, the BET Awards with 32, and the Soul Train Music Awards with 21. Beyonce's first solo album, Dangerously in Love, was released in 2003. The album featured the single Crazy in Love, which featured then-boyfriend and future husband Jay-Z. She won 5 Grammy Awards, including Best Contemporary R&B Album and the Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. In 2006, Beyonce released her second studio album, B-Day. The ballad Irreplaceable became its most successful single. In 2008, Beyonce and Jay-Z got married. Later that year, she released the double album, I Am, Sasha Fierce. The album generated several hits, including Single Ladies Put a Ring on It. She won 6 awards for this album at the 2010 Grammy Awards, including Song of the Year, Best Female Pop Vocal Performance, and Best Contemporary R&B Album. In 2011, Beyonce released an album, 4. This album included the pop ballad hit Love on Top, and my personal favorite, 1+1. Also at this time, Beyonce became pregnant with her first child, Blue Ivy. December 13th, 2013, a day the Beehive would remember forever. When Beyonce released her self-titled 5th studio album without any advance notice, the record was initially offered exclusively on iTunes and was promoted as a visual album with music videos for each track. The single Drunken Love, which featured Jay-Z, was awarded a Grammy for the Best R&B Song. Beyonce released Lemonade in 2016. Lemonade was also conceived as a visual album and debuted as a 65-minute HBO television special. Lemonade is a concept album that shows Beyonce's emotional journey after her husband's infidelity. Lemonade has been described as one of the greatest albums of all time and the most acclaimed of her career. The album was the Music Critics' top album of 2016 and was named the greatest album of the 2010s by publications like the Associated Press. In 2020, the album was placed at the number 32 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list. The album was nominated for 9 Grammy Awards at the 59th Annual Grammy Awards in 2017 and won Best Urban Contemporary Album and Best Music Video. The album did not win Album of the Year at the Grammy Awards, which many saw as a huge snub. Adele's 25 won, and when Adele won, came to the stage, she said, "I can't possibly accept this award. I'm very humbled and very grateful and gracious, but my artist of my life is Beyonce. The Lemonade album was so monumental." In 2018, Beyonce and Jay-Z released a collaborative album titled Everything is Love, which won a Grammy for the Best Urban Contemporary Album. Also in 2018, Beyonce became the first Black woman to headline Coachella. Her performance featured marching bands from historically Black colleges and which featured in a documentary on Netflix, and live album was released in 2019. In 2022, Beyonce released Act 1, Renaissance. This album received 4 Grammys, including Best Dance Electronic Music Album. Her artistry sets her music apart, and she has been credited with keeping the music video alive, setting new standards with her visual albums Beyonce and Lemonade. Her videos and live performances have been described as perfection. She invented the surprise album with her 2013 release of the self-titled album Beyonce. At the time, it became the fastest-selling album in history of iTunes. Beyonce is an accomplished businesswoman, forming her own entertainment company, Parkwood Entertainment, in 2008. Headquartered in New York City, the company serves as the overall structure for Beyonce's brands in music, movie, video, and fashion. She and her mother created their own fashion line, House of Deroyan, and Beyonce has her own signature fragrance line. She has an astonishing number of endorsements and partnerships, including Pepsi, Tommy Hilfiger, Peloton, Tiffany & Company, and Adidas. Beyonce is also a very generous philanthropist, donating millions of dollars to support survivors of Hurricane Katrina, to Phoenix House for Drug and Alcohol Rehabilitation, for Haiti earthquake reliefs, and the National Alliance in Mental Health of Essential Workers Wellness during the COVID-19 pandemic. She and her husband Beyonce have donated money to support civil rights groups like Black Lives Matter, Hands Up United, and Dream Defenders. In August of 2022, journalist Constance Grady wrote a compelling article in Vox magazine about Beyonce titled How Beyonce Turned Herself into a Pop God. In the article, Grady describes how Beyonce's artistic, commercial, and cultural evolutions established her as one of the most important cultural figures of the decade. Rolling Stones is quoted in the article saying Beyonce is the only sovereign of pop to truly evolve artistically while also expanding an enormous commercial empire. In an article titled She's No Ashanti, in 2003 when Beyonce launched her solo album, she was one of the many pop stars liked by some but ignored by others. The New York Times offered up a headline that 2 decades later would be endlessly mocked, The Solo Beyonce, She's No Ashanti. You may be wondering, how did Beyonce go from one of the pack to a critical consensus pick for one of the greatest artists of her generation? Journalist Grady details a highly controlled plan and the incredibly hard work that transformed Beyonce into a cultural icon. How did Beyonce turn herself into Beyonce? Beyonce was constantly working, turning out her first solo albums, establishing herself as pop royalty and the queen of R&B. She also appeared in 2 movies, 2006 Dreamgirls and 2008 Cadillac Records. She went on multiple world tours and sang as the Obamas danced their first dance as President and First Lady in 2009. Her video for Single Ladies was declared one of the best videos of all time by Kanye West. Beyonce cemented herself as a major star and used strategies to ascend in multiple different genres. She sang the national anthem at Obama's second inauguration, she headlined the Super Bowl in 2013, and she launched her Pepsi campaign. Beyonce was everywhere. What set her apart from the rest? The surprise release of her self-titled album in 2013? The only announcement? A post on her Instagram account? Every song came with a video. The album was an immediate hit commercially and culturally. The surprise drop of the album was a business masterstroke. Beyonce's fan, named the Beehive, were bigger and more vocal than ever. Beyonce herself stopped talking in public while her face adorned multiple magazines. In 2016, she released Lemonade. Critics called this album on another level entirely. It was an album that told a story of how Beyonce survived Jay-Z's infidelity and how she pushed through and rebuilt her marriage after she had his betrayal. The album shows clear generational struggles and struggles for African Americans in relationships with their history. The album was called Lemonade, as Beyonce said, "I was served lemons, but I made lemonade," to describe her husband's infidelity. She also referenced her maternal grandmother, Agnes Duron, as an alchemist who spun gold out of this hard life, with the instructions to overcome these challenges passed down through generations like a lemonade recipe. It was Beyonce's first explicitly political album, as Jay-Z's betrayal of Beyonce became a metaphor for America's betrayal of black women. Vanity Fair said, Beyonce is less pop star or musician at this point than she is a belief system. In 2017, she announced her pregnancy with her twins, Sir and Rummy, with lavish photo shoots and divine goddess imagery. She was depicted in the photos as the Virgin Mary, the goddess Venus, and the Europe goddess of love, Ocean. In a New York Times review of Homecoming, the article states that the concert was further proof that Beyonce had become peerless. The article noted that Beyonce was now playing on another level, no longer someone to be compared to Lady Gaga or Rihanna, Michael Jackson, or even the Beatles. Being uncomparable and having such a large fan base can be very easy to find people to talk about Beyonce. So I asked longtime superfan and my amazingly wonderful and talented cousin, Brian Selcik. In this next segment, you will hear the discussion between me and Brian about Beyonce. Hi, Brian. Thank you for joining us today for an interview about Beyonce.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, and just a little background on you. Where did you study and why are you so interested in Beyonce?
Well, I studied at the Chicago College of Performing Arts at Roosevelt University in downtown Chicago. I just graduated in May. I studied musical theater dance, and Beyonce has been a big part of my life ever since I kind of grew into my own around like 15, 16. I think Homecoming is her Coachella performance from 2018 is what really like made me realize how much of a legend and icon she is, and all of her discography is just amazing. And so I had no other option but to be the biggest fan I could be.
Yes, indeed. And you truly are. You truly are. That's why I felt like you were probably the best to interview for this little segment.
Honored to be here.
So glad to have you here. Okay. Just to start off, I'm going to ask you just a couple questions. And one question will be, how would you describe Beyonce's legacy?
Well, to me, Beyonce's legacy is unmatched. Her career is like extremely long, and that really isn't normal for someone in her industry. I feel like most people fall off and just get taken in by like the money and like paparazzi and stuff. She could retire tomorrow, and her legacy would already be that of like Michael Jackson and Tina Turner. She just doesn't stop ever, and she is involved in every aspect of her brand. And the longevity and health of her voice, I just think needs to be studied. It needs to be the textbook definition of just the most healthy and iconic voice ever. She also understands how legendary artists have opened up the doors for her. And so she tries to open those doors up for younger artists below her. So that I think is really important. I think that's how I would describe her legacy in a brief statement.
That was perfect. That was absolutely amazing. And I don't think it could have been said any better. On to the next question. Okay, what is a fact about Beyonce people don't commonly know?
I hope people don't commonly know this one, but I just think it's so funny that bootylicious is in the Oxford English Dictionary because of her
I did not know that.
in 2004. And I just think that's so funny that bootylicious is a real word in the dictionary.
I knew she wrote the song, but I did not know that she like coined the term too. Huh.
It is in that dictionary, girl.
Oh my god, I love it. Okay, perfect. Beyonce in verbs. Who would have known? Okay, and then the next question is going to be, how did her Renaissance tour impact the pop community?
Well, I think there's so many ways, but I think that the Renaissance tour was particularly revolutionary because never has so much high fashion been involved in a tour like this. Her performance and her voice and her dancing is always incredible, always 5 stars. I mean, out of 5, of course, always 100 stars out of 5. But I think what was like particularly like revolutionary about this was the new aspect of this high fashion being involved. There was a new outfit at least every show and really almost every section of each show. And every dancer had a matching outfit made for them. It's just crazy. I mean, some truly iconic designers designed for her shows. And I think that alone was revolutionary. Yeah.
That was perfect. It definitely had a lot of competition with Taylor Swift's tour. Now, I know that we are neither not Taylor Swifties, but would you say, how do you think it reigned with her tour comparative to Taylor Swift's tour?
Well, I just think that there's something out there for everyone, and I think that that is great, and I respect that. I will say that I think you can tell a lot about a person based on what they think about Beyonce. If you're someone who doesn't like Beyonce off the bat, like, I don't need you to be a diehard fan like me, but I just think if you don't like her off the bat, like, you should really do some unpacking within yourself because there's just no reason why her legendariness doesn't clock in your mind. You know what I mean? Like, my parents don't listen to Beyonce, but they understand how iconic she is. That's the kind of thing that I think sets her fans apart. But I think Taylor's tour was something for everybody. It's surely not something for me, but I think them supporting each other and going to each other's premieres is exactly what the fans needed to shut up about. There's just so much fighting between fans online, and it would get really mean and hateful. I was seeing some crazy comments and accusations, and I just think them supporting each other is just the best thing that they could do. And also, Taylor recognizes that Beyonce is so much more iconic in the sense of like longevity and career and like motherhood. You know what I mean? Like, she is just, I think that their relationship is a good role like model for people to look to. So yeah.
That was perfect. Yes, that was literally perfect. And just to finalize the interview, what would be one question you would like to ask Beyonce?
Girl, I would not even know where to start. I'd be like, will you be my friend? I'm like, can we cuddle, Beyonce? I don't know. I don't even know. Like, I could ask 5 million questions. I wish I could think of some like really deep, like emotional question that she hasn't been asked before. But I mean, some things that are popping into my mind right now are like, I wonder if she wishes if she had more privacy than she already has, because she's pretty good at avoiding paparazzi and only, letting out what she wants to let out. I feel like she's pretty good about that. So I wonder if she wants more privacy than she has, but I think she has a pretty good grip on that. So I don't know. And also she's involved with so many aspects of her, like every aspect of her brand. But one thing that they never really talk about is like, or that I haven't really seen her talk about too much is like merch. And she's releasing so much merch. And like, of course we love it. Our bank accounts maybe cry about it, but that's okay. I just wonder how involved she is with her merch. Or if like someone else makes all of it and then just she looks over it, or does she actually design any of it? Because obviously like Ivy Park with Adidas is different, but like her actual merch, I wonder if she's involved with that. And I would maybe ask her, do you love that I love you? And maybe she'd say yes, and maybe we'd kiss a little bit. I just love her. I guess those are some questions.
That's literally, I wonder what her answers would be for sure. That would. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for being a part of this interview.
Of course, I'm honored. Bye.
Thank you. Special thanks to Brian for being a part of the interview. Now, you may be wondering, what is next for Beyonce after her amazing Renaissance album? When asked how Beyonce sees her next decade, she responded in an end of 2021 article in Harper's Bazaar. My wish is for my 40s to be fun and full of freedom. I want to feel the same freedom I feel on stage every day of my life. I want to explore aspects of myself I haven't had time to discover and to enjoy my husband and my children. I want to travel without working. I want this next decade to be about celebration, joy, and giving and receiving love. I want to give all the love I have to people who love me back. I've done so much in my 40 years, I just want to enjoy my life. It's hard going against the grain, but being a small part of some of the overdue shifts happening in the world feelings very rewarding. I want to continue to work to dismantle systemic imbalances. I want to continue to turn these industries upside down. I plan to create businesses outside of music. I've learned that I have to keep on dreaming. One of my favorite quotes is from the inventor Charles Kettering. It goes, "Our imagination is the only limit to what we can hope to have in the future." I want to show you that I can have fun and have purpose, be respectful and speak your mind. You can be both elegant and a provocateur. You can be curvy and still be a fashion icon. I wish this freedom for every person. I have paid my dues and followed every rule for decades, so now I can break the rules that need to be broken. My wish for the future is to continue to do everything everyone thinks I can't do. Beyonce is in a class of herself in pop music. Her artistic innovations, business savvy, and creativity now set her apart from others in her genre. Who runs the pop music world? For now, it's Beyonce. Thank you all for listening to How She Moved the Music Notes, Episode 5. Special thanks to Brian Selcik for being a part of the interview and the podcast. Thank you all for listening to my first podcast series. I have enjoyed this process and hope to make many more. Thank you again for listening. Bye-bye. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my